Hello and welcome to Kits and Wagers. We're talking to you Monday night before game week 14. I am Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen. We both work at RotoWire. Before we get into all the details, are you looking for NFTs that are both fun and have actual utility? Try So Rare, the largest NFT-based fantasy game. You can collect, trade, compete with officially licensed digital cards with soccer players from over 180 clubs on So Rare. That's SORARE.com. Chris, this is our first, after hours late night show of the season. We had to come in and, get the pod out to the people because we got midweek matches. So Chris, how you doing first off? And what do we got for the kit this week?
Yeah, Adam, good to see you again. A little short week for us. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is the hardest working fantasy soccer betting pod that's in the industry right now. It's Monday. It's nearly 9 o'clock your time. It's about 6 o'clock for me. We're back here. I think this is the first time that we've recorded on a Monday night. We're typically doing like a early morning Friday podcast or a Thursday podcast, so a little bit different here for the schedule. But these game weeks are coming hot and heavy now, and we got to get the content out there for our devoted listeners. And then secondly, I am breaking out my oldest kit right here. It's if for those not watching on YouTube, it's a classic Real Madrid kit here. Purchased, I think, on one of those soccer websites back in the year like 2004, 2005. First one I ever bought. Didn't know anything about the game, but I knew that Real Madrid sounded cool. It somehow still fits me despite a lot of surrounding factors with that. But so that's the one I'm rocking this weekend, and excited to chat a little more kits and wagers this week.
You've been old school the last 2 weeks, I think. Whatever you had last week, I'm back in my Wolves team, the Wolves squad under Bruno Lage. My 10th favorite team in the Premier League. The team that I have a bet on to finish in the top 10, and I just got to support my boys, my squad. So just sticking here with the Wolves. There we go. I gotta get the logo up here. Represent. But
that's a shirt.
Okay.
That's a very sharp shirt.
Shirts and wagers, of course.
Yeah, shirts and wagers. Yep.
So we the elephant in the room here is that Chris is currently 3 straight best bets he's hit. So if you haven't been watching our show, wait, is there more? Is it more than 3?
I think I'm 3 of my last 4. I don't think I'm because I lost the West Ham bet 2 weeks ago, but 3 of my last 4. Prior to that, I had.
I'm making up numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
no, tough start for us, but 3 of my last 4. If you want to look at it that way.
Well, either way, it's better than what I've been doing. So Chris last week, he had Aston Villa to win. And so I think the big thing from that match is, so it came out. So just our 2 best bets, I want to say the big thing is that you wait for lineups to come out. Obviously on the show, we don't wait for lineups to come out. We did our show Wednesday and the games were Saturday. So Crystal Palace is what I believe their best defender, Joachim Anderson. He has, I think he has a muscle injury now, and so he missed this Aston Villa match. And once I saw that, I was all over Chris's bet. Aston Villa to win plus 240. He also mentioned the draw no bet plus 140, and he took that bet before Anderson was out. So either that's luck or he just knows what he's doing.
Let's call it a little bit of both. We can't get too into myself here. I think I just like the fact that they're definitely playing a better brand of ball under Stevie G. I mean, obviously they've played well in the last 2 matches. Crystal Palace, it did help that they were missing their best defender. So we'll bank that one and we'll move on to this week, and hopefully we can maybe make it a streak again here, and we'll get into a little bit later. But hopefully we can continue that.
I guess I'll mention mine. So. We had the connection issues last week, and Chris,
we would have had a proper discussion about this had I not had some terrible connection issues at the end. Then I would have had to warn our listeners.
Yeah, so I took Liverpool and Southampton under 3.5 goals. It seemed like the odds were too good, And then, of course, Ralph Hasenhuntel, he's like, you know what? I've been doing 4-4-2 for the past however many years. I'm going to switch things up. I'm going to try and trick Liverpool, and I'm going to put three center backs on the defensive line, on the back line, and give Lionco, however you say the guy's name, give him his first start, I think, in the Premier League. And I'm just going to try and play games with Liverpool and see if that works. Guess what? It didn't work. And Liverpool, it was 3-0 at half. I was hoping that'd stick, but I think it was Minamino. Did he get, or maybe I'm thinking Champions League.
No,
Someone got a fourth goal in the second half. I guess it was
yeah,
Jota's brace, maybe, but
it was
it didn't
Virgil
hit.
van Dijk scored the fourth
No.
goal off the corner
Okay,
kick.
yes. Yeah, that was off a corner or something.
I was I
Either
was
way.
I was writing the wrap for rotowire.com and covering this particular match, and I saw Lianco make his first start. He actually had a decent game from a statistical standpoint, but yeah, tough one to come into when he was arguably at fault for the first two goals from Jota. So yeah, the tough bet. And I also would have, hindsight 2020, but looking back at Liverpool's goal totals from their last 8 matches in the Premier League, they've been scoring quite a few goals. So we'll bounce back this week, and I have complete confidence in what you're going to do here this week and moving forward.
The good news is that once again, my article, at rotowire.com, that one finished in the positive. I also conveniently wrote up what Liverpool to win in a shutout at, I don't know, plus 115 or so. That was one of my few bets I got correct. And of course, what has been the case for I don't know how long. I keep picking my articles are keep finishing in the positive. For the most part, I've had winning records on my articles, and I seem to pick, the worst bet every week. And you know what? Every week I say I'm going to turn around. This week I'm going to turn around. That's what we're doing. So game
Complete
week
belief.
14. Week 14, again, we're going to discuss, we're going to pick out 3 matches, then go over our best bets. And this first one, we'll start with Tuesday because that's when things get kicked off. We got 2 matches on Tuesday. We got Newcastle home against Norwich and then Leeds home against Crystal Palace. We're going to single out, this relegation battle. So Newcastle plus 100 at home, Norwich plus 275. And I guess we're looking here over 2.5 goals is minus 115-ish, depending where you look. And the big thing here is Eddie Howe against Dean Smith. And I get the big thing, I guess I look back for 2 seasons ago when these guys were in the Premier League. So it was Bournemouth. Eddie Howe was at Bournemouth. Dean Smith still Aston Villa. Bournemouth won both those games. In the same season, they got relegated. They won both those games 2-1. So what do you think about those results? How much do you think that he actually comes into play here? But what are your thoughts for this game?
I would say that the fact that it was with a different club really kind of, I don't put a whole ton of weight into it, and maybe I should, but I would say that the fact that though both those games were with Bournemouth and not with Norwich or Newcastle here, or not with Newcastle rather, that I would kind of skip over that. The thing that sticks out to me is that I looked at these odds last night. They were Newcastle Football Club. They haven't won a game yet this season. I believe they've drawn 6. They've lost 7, maybe something like that. Um, they were minus odds last night. They were minus 110 favorites. Norwich was at plus 300. I looked just now before we started recording, and it's now Newcastle is plus 100. So it's flipped there from negative to positive odds. And Norwich has dropped from plus 300 to plus 275. So something's going on there where people are like, all right, those seem like some ridiculous odds. So that's the thing that really sticks out to me. And Newcastle have not played particularly well as Norwich. That being said, Norwich they won last match, and I believe they were competitive in the one before. They haven't lost in 3 matches is what you need to know. So I just like the way they're playing. Dean Smith, decent manager, so this should be a good scrap between the two. But just given the fact that I don't think Newcastle is actually better than Norwich, I kind of like taking Norwich here in this particular match.
Yeah, I think what I'm looking at so the numbers here are pretty. I guess they're even towards the over 2.5 goals. But yeah, like you said, Norwich they drew the Wolves. They beat Southampton. They beat Brentford, and that was with their former manager. But so I'm thinking goals in this one. They had the match against Wolves, which was not a ton happened in that one. They defended pretty well against Wolves, and Wolves kind of have been, I don't remember my squad, but it hasn't been the best offensive season for him. Raul Jimenez really hasn't gotten going since his fractured skull. So, but I just Newcastle under Eddie Howe. They had that first match against Brentford 3-3, and that kind of showed just the team that how they're going to play. And then the match against Arsenal, yeah, it was 2-0, under 2.5 goals, but I think that's just Arsenal, a better team. They're imposing their will on the match, something I don't think Norwich are going to do. This is Eddie Howe's first match where he's going to be in person at home. a lot of qualifiers there, but I think that
Many.
I think that kind of means something. He's actually going to be there at home, and I think they're just going to come out. They're gonna want to attack, and I just think the over 2.5 is the way to go in that spot.
Yeah, that's fair. Norwich City in their past 3 or 4 matches has all been over 2.5, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, and then that 7-0 loss to Chelsea. So prior to the 0-0 against Wolves, who we know nothing, we know can't score the goal, can't put the ball away. So I mean, yeah, I'm with you there on the overs. Although it sounds like you're taking Newcastle here, and I might be rolling with Norwich.
I do not have a side in this match.
Okay, that's fair. All right. You try to
Maybe
goad a
we'll
guy
see.
into taking Newcastle, and he didn't bite at all.
We'll see if my mind changes in the next 15 or so minutes. But
Okay, perfect.
so the next match here, which is Wednesday, we're changing days here, and it's of course the Merseyside derby. Everton are home in this one, but Liverpool are still minus 260. Everton plus 650 to win. Over 2.5 goals, minus 155 ish. Over 3.5 goals, plus 165 ish. So it's, the projected goal total there is sitting around three, which means, a 2-1 kind of result there for in terms of the odds. But as I was telling Chris before this, I thought originally, Liverpool have dominated this matchup, but that really hasn't been the case. And how much are you putting into previous results now that, the guy, Rafa Benitez, is leading Everton here?
I mean, anytime these two teams play, it's kind of like all bets are off, really. Unfortunately, we got to talk about some bets, so we will do that. But yeah, I just think that Liverpool have been so much better than Everton. Everton are winless in their last 5, I think, something like that. But they have not been playing particularly well. So I really think that Liverpool should still continue in their form to continue to score goals. And did you say, I think you mentioned the over 2.5 was minus 155. I still think those odds are not quite like, I usually looking for those positive odds. So I kind of don't know if I would do that, but the plus 3.5, which is a lot of goals, would be a potential. I mean, we kind of talked about it, how we looked at it last week, but yeah, just think that this one's always tough to bet. Everton are missing Dominic Calvert-Lewin though, so that they just haven't been able to score.
Yeah, I don't know. The weird thing, like you said, it kind of, the way these teams playing kind of doesn't matter for this derby. And I guess that's the one thing that makes it kind of scary to take Liverpool at minus 280 or so. Because Everton, they're just not playing well. They had their what they played more on the counter early in the season. They're a little bit healthier. They had Calvert Lewin, and then their guys got injured. Decore, he's back, so that definitely helps. And I mean, they've been kind of more defensive, and that just hasn't worked because they haven't scored. They haven't scored in their last 3 matches. They got that scoreless draw against Tottenham. They tried to keep Manchester City at bay. That obviously didn't work. They lost 3-0. And then, they gave up the PK to Brentford early in the first half, and then they couldn't score. So, I mean, just going off history, you'd think, okay, this is a big match. Everton, maybe they'll come through, but it's just hard to bet anything on Everton with the way they're playing right now. And sure, Richarlison's back from suspension, but like how much does that mean for this matchup when Liverpool are mostly healthy? So
Yeah, Everton have been shut out in 4 of their past 6 matches. And it's not like, I mean, Liverpool decent, pretty solid defensively, and I mean those shutouts were to the likes of like Brentford, who we've seen give up a ton of goals. Obviously, Man City, good back line. Shout out against Tottenham, who when they were playing a man down, and then against West Ham. So 3 of those teams have been pretty solid defensively, but yeah, just really struggling to score goals without any firepower up top.
yeah, so in that case, I was looking at Liverpool to win and shutout, you got plus 135. And if you want a little more fun, maybe Everton get an early goal or something, and Liverpool are pushing the rest of the way. You can get Liverpool to win from and come from behind is plus 600. Maybe not the best odds, and I wonder if you're a live bet in the game, if Everton score a goal, I don't know if they're going to be at plus 600, but it's still a fun
Yeah,
thing to look at.
that's definitely an interesting odd at plus 600. I think we've discussed this one a few times, specifically Mo Salah over the length of the season here, but minus 135, which is right on that cusp, like to minus 135, I should say, to score. So right on the cusp of being like, okay, maybe I'll consider that one. And then if you really are feeling decent about it, you can get Mo Salah to score and Liverpool to win at plus 105. So just a little bit better odds there.
Yeah, Jota has kind of been a little bit better of a goal scorer lately. He's plus 120, Mane plus 125. So if you don't want to take that Salah route, I don't know his exact goal record in the last 10 matches or so, but I know he's slowed down since the beginning of the season. And Jota's just coming off the brace. So if you can get plus odds, it's a possibility. Still it's still not the best odds, but I mean Liverpool are minus 280 or whatever he said. So I guess when you take that into consideration, maybe the plus 120 isn't as terrible as it looks.
Yeah.
So the next match here, and that is Thursday. So conveniently, we have a game. We're previewing a game Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we got Manchester United home against Arsenal, and Manchester United, they got their new interim manager, Ralph Ragnick. However you say that guy's name, he's actually not going to be coaching this game because he's they got COVID protocols, so he's not. I don't. He's probably talked to the team. Who knows what he's actually said? But as we mentioned last week, we still got the caretaker manager, Michael Carrick. He will be leading the team. And Manchester United plus 100 to win. Arsenal plus 270. You can get over 2.5 goals at minus 125 ish. Under 2.5 goals plus 105 ish. So, what do we think about these odds? First off, I'm not sure they're correct odds. And which way are you leaning here? Manchester United plus 100 at home. Are they playing that well?
I mean, they definitely have played slightly better. To hold Chelsea to a draw on was that Sunday is a really good result considering Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea are a little bit without a forward, but they scored that goal from a penalty. The match prior, they they beat Villarreal 2-0. So Michael Carrick's definitely got them playing a lot more defensive, and that's kind of evidenced by when you look at the possessions. I think in both those matches, it was like 60-40 to the other team, Villarreal or Chelsea. So they're definitely sitting back. They're not necessarily like trying to hold the ball and progress it a ton. It's kind of like a bit more counterattacking. So I think Michael Carrick at this point is just like trying to get some results for them. And that being said, like I could see Arsenal kind of dominating this game from like an attacking perspective, but Manchester United look a lot more organized defensively. I think I would take. I think I could potentially be talked into those plus 100 odds.
Is Are they back? Manchester United? Are they the best team
I'm,
in the
I'm
league
not. I'm
again?
not.
Oh
I'm
my
not
god.
saying that, but I'm not saying that by any means. But I just think that they have definitely played a little bit better. I mean, that the giveaway against Chelsea, where Jadon Sancho went down and scored, was a little bit lucky. But they also played, well enough to keep them like very pretty tame.
For our longtime listeners here, this isn't anything new for Chris to be going against Arsenal. So
Yeah, if you
just
if
to
you've
be
been
clear
listening
on
to
this
us for
pick,
3 months, then you understand that I'm at my wits end here as we approach two teams that I don't really I enjoy watching them, but I enjoy watching them lose more or less.
yeah, so I'm just pulling up the stats here from that Chelsea Manchester United match. Expected goals Chelsea 2.51 to 0.73, 24 shots to 3 shots, 15 corners to 2 corners. You could say some of that's game script, but Chelsea pretty much dominated the first half. Sancho got that early goal in the 50th minute, the Jorginho PK, 69th minute. So it's not like Manchester United had a lead for, I don't know, more than 45 minutes. They had it for 19 minutes. So it's not like that was a game script kind of thing. Like you said, they're kind of playing more defensive. And I think it's going to be just going off that. I think going under 2.5 goals here is the way to go. What, plus 105? So you're getting plus odds on it.
Mhm.
I think the over under is higher just because you got these top six clubs going against each other, and that's kind of what it's all about. But Arsenal, it's not like they're a high scoring team. Like they're winning these games, but a lot of these games have been 2-0. And those wins are against lower quality teams. When they go against better teams, when they go against Liverpool, they couldn't score against Liverpool. They couldn't score against, just going through the list here, they couldn't score against Brighton. They couldn't score against Chelsea. They couldn't score against Manchester City. So you throw in their inconsistencies and how all their wins are basically against non-elite teams. And sure, Manchester United are maybe struggling a bit, but like you said, they're playing more defensive. They're getting Harry Maguire back from suspension. You could put that all together, and this could be a 1-1, another 1-1 type of match. It could be 1-0. It could be scoreless. It could be 2-0. But I don't think this is one where these teams are going to go off and there's going to be a ton of goals, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that plus that under 2.5 goals for plus 105 odds is a really good shout for all the reasons that you outlined.
Yeah, just even looking back at last season, one of the results was scoreless. The other one was 1-0 to Arsenal. And then going further, I do like the Arsenal side in this. I believe I actually wrote about the Arsenal win draw, which is almost even money. But Arsenal have won 3 of the last 5, and the other 2 are draws. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Ronaldo and these guys are going to be super pumped about this new interim manager, and they're just going to go crazy. They're going to go 4-0 and beat Arsenal. Maybe that's going to happen, but I choose to go against current form and the history between these teams I mean, sure as Mikel Arteta against Ole last season, but I'll go with those recent results and take the under and back the Arsenal side in this.
Yeah, to back up slightly, really interesting that that United got Ralph Ragnick there as their. I guess it's confirmed that he's going to be their next manager.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, somebody who obviously knows what they're doing. He's kind of created all those systems with the Red Bull clubs, but that one came kind of out of the blue for me at least. And I know they were trying to like get Poch from PSG, trying to figure out what they're going to do. But yeah, I think that makes a big difference for them over the season as he's shown that like he can lead teams to like definitely play better. So he's a guy with a system who will do much better for United than kind of what they had going. Whereas like for the first part of the season, it just seemed like they were just like throwing big names on a team sheet and hoping that they go forward and find the back of the net. Whereas like now I think on Saturday where Ronaldo was dropped to the bench, right, and we saw a little bit more pressing out of that front line. So it'll be interesting to see like the style that they play moving forward, specifically in this match on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, who really knows like Carrick's gonna be the one on the sidelines, but
Yeah.
Like this guy could have, a Zoom conference call with the team and give them, directives basically and tell them how to play instead of not allowing the caretaker manager to play, whatever formation. They played a 4-3-2-1 or something against Chelsea, and they've been playing the 4-2-3-1. Maybe I honestly don't know what formations this guy runs, so maybe it's gonna be something completely different, and I don't know.
They're just gonna like zoom them in on the projector at halftime. Like, all right, come on, boys, let's get out of our final third here and try to get in attack.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, he could be zoomed in the training and giving these guys, telling these guys how to play in training. That some guy just running around with like a screen and being like, "Hey, yeah, move here, whatever." And like we don't know how they're approaching this matchup basically. Whereas Carrick, he played. It seems like he's a little closer to Ole in terms of tactics, but so I guess that's something to consider here. We keep saying, wait until lineups to come out if you don't truly like a bet, and probably what you want to do with this one because we don't know who's going to play. We don't know who's going to start. I think Sancho picked up, so that's something in there. He's last two matches and looked a little better than he did previously. So
Yeah, and
but
for the record here, I'm taking Manchester United plus 100. It sounds like you might be going the other route.
I'm 100% going there.
All right.
All right, you're on Manchester United to win. I'll take Arsenal. You're on Everton to win plus 60. Uh, no. Oh, did you miss?
Perfect. Yes. Perfect. I think like I said, I got the earlier match that way. I like Norwich and I like Manchester United this week.
No, I don't. I might be cutting out here, but I said you also on Everton plus 650 to win,
Oh,
right?
I missed that part, but I'm completely out on that.
Okay. All right. So best bet time. All right, I got to refresh and stretch out before giving this play. Okay, so
maybe go on like a spiritual journey or something like that quickly.
all right. Leeds home against Crystal Palace Tuesday. I'm just getting this out of the way because these matches extend 3 days. So I'm just going right away. This game's tomorrow. So hopefully you listen to this before this match happens. We got over 2.5 goals at minus 105 between Leeds and Crystal Palace. Last season, 2-0 and 4-1. Of course, Patrick Vieira wasn't the manager. Um, I think Palace they've been better. They've been much better offensively under Vieira, despite what they got. They got the last goal against Aston Villa last game, but their games have been more high scoring. And there's a chance Patrick Bamford comes back in this match. He went. I just wrote this down earlier. He went in full 90, I believe, Monday with the U23s. Luke Ayling also went 45 in that match, so they could be getting. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking way ahead. Those guys are not returning because they played Monday with the U23s. So forget what I said. Okay, so Anderson. Anderson is going to be out for Crystal Palace, and I think that is the main thing I'm looking at. So they lost. They gave up 2 goals to Villa. They gave up 3 to Burnley before that. They had a couple, clean sheets that kind of came out of nowhere that Manchester City win. But just looking back at their matches, the 3-0 loss against Liverpool, they gave up 2 to Leicester, they gave up 2 to Arsenal, and just going back to Leeds, talked about them last week, and they are having struggling to score. But I think the Palace issues on the back line, and I'm just going to run through some numbers here. Leeds have scored in every home match but the loss to Liverpool, and they've also allowed goals in every match, in every home match but the game against Watford. So more often than not, there's going to be goals, and the hope here is that it doesn't finish 1-1 and it's a simple, both teams score. But I'm going over 2.5 in this one. I think this is also one where you can go a little crazy, my over 3.5, over 4.5, that kind of thing. I think if these teams get going, if it's up and down, like I think it'll be, I think there will be goals. And hopefully Leeds will, under Rafinha and Rodrigo and Harrison, those guys can get going. Daniel James. Hopefully this will be the match that can get going and break my best bet streak. So there you go. Over 2.5 goals. Do like that bet.
Yeah, certainly interesting. Rafinha is at plus 200 for anytime goal scorers. If you think that he's going to be the main man, I know we talked about it in our last podcast where he's got 4 goals, and that's pretty much the majority of Leeds United goals this season. So if you like any of that over 2.5, maybe slide a Rafinha bet to score for plus 200. Elsewhere, that's probably your best bet. And then Rodrigo's plus 185, so he's got a little bit better scoring odds than Rafinha. But yeah, like where your head's at with that one. And if you want to add a little bit to it with some anytime goal scorers, there's a couple other options out there.
Yeah, do a little same game parlay, throw a goal scorer and throw the win in. You can get a decent payout on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm hopeful to get the best bet right, back on track here, and I'm going to follow it up with mine here. We've already discussed this game, so it'll be easy for me to run through. But Norwich City, I like them this week, specifically tomorrow. You can get a Norwich draw, no bet at plus 175, and I like that enough to take it as my best bet this week. So if they draw, no biggie. If they win, you're at plus 175. And then if you really feel particularly good about that one, you can just go straight up Norwich to win. That's plus 275. So if that one hits, we're in back-to-back weeks with teams to win at plus 200 odds. We like to, if that one cashes, we like what we're hearing here. But if you want to play it a little bit more safer, you got Norwich draw no bet at plus 175. So that's my best bet. And then one other one I want to chuck in here, and we kind of discussed it, is Mo Salah to score and to win at plus 105 against Everton the following day. So those are two outside bets, and then my best bet.
He's doing it. He's going Norwich, putting Norwich in a best bet. So hopefully everyone will send this podcast out here, but our 2 best bets are for Tuesday, but fortunately we talked about the other matches there. So I'm gonna have to go against you. I'm taking Newcastle to win plus 100. I'm just doing it.
We pretty much have opposite. Like these are the opposite odds of Manchester United and Arsenal. Almost exactly. So, we'll see what happens here. Hopefully, it's not like one gets one right and one gets the other one, but hopefully, get a little sweeps. So one of us
can probably get both right. It's fine.
Yeah, one of us can hop on Friday's podcast and gloat a little bit.
I will say, so one of Norwich's best players, Matthias Norman, he's going to be out for this match. He picked up some kind of hip pelvis injury last match, exited in the 35th minute, but he's been I don't know, he's done a lot in the midfield, I guess is what I'll say. He's gotten forward, and he's a big I want to say defensive midfielder, but he's not really a defensive midfielder. He just has a lot of defensive stats, and he gets forward. But he's been pretty good this season. I think that's a tough loss for him. And I'm not saying that's going to be the reason they'd lose, but it's something to keep in mind. I also think just Alan St. Maximin, him going against Brandon Williams and Max Aarons, I think he has the advantage there. And
don't make me reconsider this bet.
No, I'm just all right. Well, that's all I'll say. Newcastle plus 100 is my second best bet of the. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, fair enough.
No, I'm not going that far. You got it. You can. I'll ride with your Norwich pick. We ride or die on this podcast, and we stick together at least on our best bets. Okay,
great.
But all right, that's it. So I got over 2.5 between Leeds and Crystal Palace. and Chris has Norwich draw no bet, which is about plus 170, or if you're feeling crazy, plus 270 to win. Chris, are you smoking any birds this week? What's going on? How did the smoked birds turn out last week? I don't know if the people heard last week, but Chris was smoking birds all week. And
Yeah,
how'd it go?
Thanksgiving went really well, actually. We did a little bit of an experiment. I got two birds, two smaller birds, and one I did a wet brine and I stuffed it and I baked it, which turned out well. Did some herbs on it as well. But the real star of the show was the smoked turkey. This one was spatchcocks, which is one of my favorite new words, where you cut out the spine and you butterfly the bird flat so it cooks more evenly. And then you put it on the smoker. It cooks more evenly and much faster. Just did a nice little compound butter on top of that. And I did a dry brine. So I just salted and baking powdered over the top of it for 24 hours and nice and crispy, really good flavor. Both birds were great, but my preference was the smoked turkey or smoked bird, if you will.
Yeah, a lot of talk in the cooking community about spatchcocking, and that seems like the best way to go if you're making turkey. I think it takes a little more time than just a regular one, just because you gotta take out the spine and all that. But I guess Chris would know best. So,
That's where I disagree, but you know, you just cut out the spine. Takes about half the time amount of time to cook. So
oh, okay.
consider
Oh,
that
yeah.
for your
Well,
next
yeah,
bird.
true.
So yeah,
Okay, well, there's our 2-minute segment of smoking birds and wagers. But until then, we will be back for, yes, there's more matches this weekend. So we'll be talking either Thursday again as usual, or we'll be talking Friday. We'll see what happens. We do have those Thursday matches, so we're going to have to bring that into the schedule. But anyways, everyone, thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am at Zdroik. Chris is at CHROwen8, and that's all on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe if you want any content from RotoWire. RotoWire.com/soccer trial. You can get a free 10-day trial, no credit card required. If you're following along on YouTube, you can get this awesome soccer betting screen where you can compare DraftKings odds, FanDuel odds, and just look at the matches here with everything. And that's a pretty cool addition we added to the site recently. But that's it for Kits and Wagers. Chris, thanks for joining me. And to everyone, good luck in Game Week 14.